Oh,
Good morning.
good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Office of Tax Appeals. And my name is Tommy Leung. I will be the lead judge for today's appeal. On my panel is our judges Veronica Long and SF Clutter. Although I'm the lead judge, all three of us will be equal participants in deciding this appeal. Um, Before we go on the record, some housekeeping matters to take care of. There is a transcript being prepared for this hearing. It is being prepared electronically using Zoom. We ask that everybody, for purposes of the transcript, please speak clearly at a normal pace. Please do not talk over each other. And best practice is to mute your mics when not speaking. Um, During our pre-hearing conference, we had discussed the issue for this case, which is whether the 2017 refund claim is timely. Mr. Silkman, is that still your understanding?
Yes, Judge Long.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Thalhumer, is that your understanding too?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. And we'll get everybody introduced once we go on the record. And one more thing is that I have exhibits 1 for the taxpayers and exhibits A through G, as in George, for the FDB to be admitted into the record once we get started. So unless there are any other questions, I am about to start the record now. This is OTA appeal number 230112242, appeal of S&A Forem, Forem. The date is November 14th, 2024. The time is approximately 9:35 in the morning. I will start introductions of the parties, beginning with you, Mr. Silkman, please.
Good morning. David Silkman, CPA, representing the taxpayers.
And I understand Mr. and Mrs. Form will be testifying today also.
That is correct.
Okay, I will swear them in shortly. And for the Franchise Tax Board?
Good morning. This is Tristan Thalhuber with the Franchise Tax Board, and with me is Cynthia Kent, also with FTB.
Good morning to you all. A few things that the parties agreed to before the hearing today. Number one, all the parties agreed to have this hearing heard electronically via Zoom. Number two, the parties agreed that the issue to be decided is whether the 2017 refund claim is timely. And number three, number three are the exhibits to be entered into the record. That would be exhibit 1 for the appellant and exhibits A through G for the respondent. Mr. Silkman, would you, Mr. and Mrs. Forum, would you please raise your right hands? And
Judge Leung, this is Judge Long. It looks like we've lost Mr. and Mrs. Forem. Oh, they just returned, and Mr. and Mrs. Forem, you're currently on mute. So you're going to have to unmute yourselves in order to take the oath. You're still muted. There you go.
Excellent.
Perfect. I'll let Judge Leung continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Long. Mr. and Mrs. Form, please raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Yes, we do.
Thank you. Lower your hands. Mr. Silkman, you have 15 minutes for your presentation, please. Begin at your pleasure.
Thank you, Judge Long. Good morning, Judge Long, panel members, Mr. Thalhuber and Ms. Kent, and I apologize if I mispronounce your name. So I guess my opening statement is, as the taxpayers' tax filing records show, the taxpayers have always filed late. but they have always filed within the statute of limitations. However, as we all know, 2020 and 2021 were not typical years due to COVID. Furthermore, year after year, and as their record shows, the taxpayers have actually always overpaid their taxes for no other reason than just to be safe. And this is what they have always told me. They always pay more just to be safe. Because of COVID-19, the taxpayers were not able to file within the statute of limitations. The taxpayers will soon explain in their own words as to why. Their explanation is reasonable, completely understandable, and somewhat heartbreaking. So I think at this point, I'm just gonna let the taxpayers speak and let the panel know why they weren't able to file within the statute of limitations. Amy and Steve.
Yes.
Amy, can you please state your statement?
Yes, I am. In the beginning of 2019, the COVID epidemic was killing people our age. We're in our 80s. We personally knew 4 people who died from the complications due to COVID. Several years prior, I had contracted coccidiodemycosis, which is valley fever, compromising my lungs, making me feel vulnerable to COVID. We literally did not leave the house. People were shopping and bringing us food. The month before, I had closed my showroom at the California Market Center and put all my stuff in the warehouse of one of my manufacturers, who was kind enough to make room for my samples, my mannequins, my furniture, my tax records, and all my business files, including the information I needed to prepare my taxes. Consequently, President Biden issued a declaration of national emergency, and the factory containing my files was shut down. I was unable to access my files. We paid our estimated 2017 quarterly taxes to the Franchise Tax Board by the required dates, resulting in an overpayment of $3,516. We are very sorry that due to these circumstances, we were unable to fulfill our obligation.
Thank you, Amy. Steve, would you like to state your statement, please?
Yes, I will. Excuse me. Again, some of this might be repetitive, but we prepared these separately. We have paid our taxes on time since 1970s. Most of the time, our estimated tax payment resulted in receiving a refund regarding our 2017 tax return. A number of unforeseen problems occurred, preventing us from obtaining information, needed to complete our 2017 tax accurately. However, our estimated tax paid by April 15th, 2018 resulted in an overpayment of $3,516. When we were able to access our records, not only did we file our taxes for 2017, we also filed tax returns for 2018-19 at the same time. Unfortunately, we missed the 2017 deadline by just 6 months due to the circumstances previously stated. In summary, we have always paid our taxes on time, and we request the court to consider all the extenuating circumstances resulting in the 6-month missed deadline.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, judges.
Mr. Silkman, is that your presentation?
It is. I do have a closing statement, and I apologize. I've never done this before. Do I state that now, or do I wait till later? How does that work?
Closing statements gives you the last word. So why don't you wait until the Franchise Tax Board does its presentation, then you can respond, you can summarize, whatever, but you have about I think you have about another 6, 7, 8 minutes left, maybe even 10. But so you have plenty of time for that. I think you have about 9 minutes left. So I'll bank that time for you. Mr. Thalhuber, do you have any questions for the appellants?
No questions, thank you.
Okay. To my panel members, Judge Long, do you have any questions for the taxpayers?
I have no questions at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Judge Clutter,
This is Judge Clutter. I do not have any questions.
thank you. Franchise Tax Board, you have 10 minutes. Please begin.
Thank you and good morning again. This is Tristan Thalhuber on behalf of Franchise Tax Board. The issue in this appeal is whether the appellants have established that they filed a timely claim for refund for the 2017 tax year prior to the expiration of the statute of limitations. Unfortunately, the evidence will show that they did not as to the barred overpayment. Under the applicable section of the Revenue and Taxation Code, the general statute of limitations provides that the last day to file a claim for refund is the latest of 4 years from the date the return was filed, if it was filed within the extended due date, which does not apply here, 4 years from the due date of the return without regard to extensions, or 1 year from the date of the overpayment. For the 2017 tax year, the 4-year statute of limitations expired before appellants filed their 2017 tax return, and the 1-year statute of limitations expired as to the barred overpayment on appellants' 2017 tax year account. Appellants late filed their 2017 tax return on November 8th, 2022, after the 4-year statute of limitations period had expired on April 15th, 2022. Furthermore, all payments on appellants' 2017 tax year account were made prior to the 1-year statute of limitations. Therefore, the 1-year statute of limitations is unavailable to allow a refund of appellants' overpayment for the 2017 tax year. Appellants contend that various hardships caused them to late file their 2017 tax return, including their respective health conditions related to their age and the COVID-19 pandemic, the loss of multiple family members during the COVID-19 pandemic, and business difficulties related to the pandemic. And while appellant's situation is unfortunate, such hardships do not negate the appellant's responsibility to timely file a return and will not extend the statute of limitations. Furthermore, there is no reasonable cause or equitable basis for suspending the statute of limitations. The Office of Tax Appeals, in its precedential opinion in the appeal of Benemy Partners, held that the language of the statute.
Mr. Thalhuber, could you, we're doing this transcript electronically, so if you wouldn't mind, any case name, just spell out the case name for the computer.
Oh, sure. You want me to spell out the case name?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Anything but Jones and Smith. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the appeal of Benemy Partners. That's BENEMI. And then Partners is PARTNERS. So in that case, the Office of Tax Appeals held that the language of the statute of limitations is explicit and must be strictly construed. The United States Supreme Court in United States v. Dalm, that's DALM, explained that this is true even when it is later shown that the tax was not owed in the first place. The appellants have not provided any additional evidence that would allow FTB by law to grant their claim for refund. Therefore, FTB respectfully requests that the Office of Tax Appeals sustain the FTB's claim for refund denial for the 2017 tax year. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Thalhuber. Judge Long, any questions for the Franchise Tax Board?
This is Judge Long. I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Judge Clutter, any questions for the Franchise Tax Board?
This is Judge Clutter. No questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have none. So, Mr. Silkman, you can start your closing argument.
Mr. Silkman, I think you might be muted.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you, Judge Long. We kindly request that the court please reconsider the decision of the denial of the taxpayers' 2017 claim for refund, as we believe that the taxpayers have a legitimate reason for their delay in filing. We also strongly believe if the taxpayers were to be judged by their peers, they would find that the taxpayers, under the circumstances that they were given due to COVID-19 pandemic, and its real fear that their delay in filing was justifiable and reasonable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Silkman. One more time for my co-panelists. Judge Long, any questions for either party?
This is Judge Long. I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, Judge Clutter, any questions for either party?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay, I have no questions either. We'd like to thank the parties for their presentations. Very well done, Mr. Silkman. You sound like a pro. So, so you do a lot better than people come here regularly. So, thank you very much. We will endeavor to get a decision out to everybody within 100 days. At this point, we're going to close the record, have the case submitted, and we wish you all a good day. The next appeal today will begin at 10:45 a.m. So long, everybody.
Thank you for your kind words. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.